street stabbing trial has been removed as the convicted teen is appealing his conviction. You might remember the case is when then 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was involved in a confrontation with 17-year-old Austin Metcalf.
I was never on a bandwagon to free Carmelo, that was never my stance whatsoever.
Dozens of Carmelo supporters, including one man in a full Black Panther uniform.
The defense also did not go into substantial family violence. Mr. Anthony had witnessed and been a victim in his own home. Here it says he witnessed violence in his own home. Who was the violence between? Was it between his mom, his dad? Was it on him?
He was never in trouble, and no, he was never suspended for no knife.
A new trial for Carmelo Anthony got denied. And the reason why, we found out background that we did not hear about before. Now, I had a prior video on Carmelo Anthony, which I actually got a lot of hate for because I revealed some evidence that I did get from his background and people thought I was lying, but hey, now it's full surface. Plus, we're going to look at Austin's background. Now, do these backgrounds matter in this case? I'm going to let you guys decide. And plus, Carmelo Anthony is lucky he only got the time that he got. Now, there was a pivotal moment in this whole thing where Carmelo Anthony probably could have got off with way less. And I'm going to tell you when and why and what happened and where his parents messed up. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at any case of missing individuals, true crime, unsolved crime, and we give it a deeper look or even a deeper perspective or a different point of view. Because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, living in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I have this YouTube channel. I help family members locate missing individuals, even help them locate fugitives that have done something horrific to a family member because I know what it takes to vanish because I was successful at it. Well, today we are really going to look at this Carmelo Anthony trial, or I should say the motion for a retrial, and exactly what happened and why he got denied. And not only why he got denied, but why he didn't get, or why he got the time that he got. Because some of this evidence that came out, he possibly could have got a longer sentence. Now, I'm going to start this video out by saying I was never on the bandwagon, and you guys can go back and look at my videos. I think I did 2 videos on Carmelo, 2 or 3, I'm not sure. I was never on a bandwagon to free Carmelo, that was never my stance whatsoever.
Outside the courtroom, dozens of Carmelo supporters, including one man in a full Black Panther uniform. And minutes after the recusal, they broke out in loud cheers.
Now, my personal opinion, I originally thought that, okay, maybe he's going to get convicted for slaughter. All right. I thought slaughter. I never thought he was innocent simply because of the fact he had a knife on school grounds at a school track meet. Okay. You should not bring any weapons to a student event. I don't care if that event is down the street at a convention center. It's still a student event. There's no reason to even have a weapon there. The only people that should have any sort of weapons there should be security or police, not no other children at that. All right. So just on that fact alone, I always thought, okay, he needs to be found guilty. Now, I always thought slaughter. And then when he got the 35 years, I was like, it might be a little too much, but there's some new evidence that came out during this retrial. And I'll be the first to admit, if I was on a jury and I heard this evidence, I think 35 years might have been too little. Plus, we're going to look at a key moment a key moment before his trial even began, where his own parents, Carmelo's own parents, messed up, guys. His parents could eventually got him a lesser charge. And I'm going to show you guys the moment of that I'm talking about. So this right here is from CBS News, and they kind of give you a brief description of both paths. Now, both of these kids, Karmelo and Austin Metcalf. Now, if you don't really know about what's happening here, Karmelo Anthony, okay, was convicted of, and here on YouTube world, when you have a smaller channel like mine, I can't say the M word, M-U-R-D-E-R, because they'll flag some of your videos. Yeah, I know it's stupid. So please like and subscribe. Let's get my subscribers off so eventually I can take the filter off and almost say what I want to say, because YouTube still gives you restrictions, all right? But, all right, so Karmelo Anthony was accused of unaliving Austin Metcalf. Now, Karmelo Anthony took it to trial, was found guilty, got over 30 years in prison. Now, in Texas, you only have to serve, I think it's 50%. Let me know if I'm right or wrong, but I believe in Texas, you only have to serve 50% of that crime. Of those charges, and then you're up for parole. Now, it doesn't mean he gets out in 15 years or 17 years, whatever it is. Doesn't mean that. But he has the opportunity to get out if parole grants him the opportunity. So there was a track meet at a school, and it was raining, and all these different teams had tents, and Karmelo Anthony went up under an opposing team's tent, which was Austin Metcalf's team's tent. Austin Metcalf approached Karmelo Anthony and said, hey, you're not, belong here. You need to leave. So instead of Karmelo Anthony leaving, he sat there and they continued to tell him to leave. Now, this is where testimony gets a little iffy, because witnesses are saying that Karmelo Anthony pulled out a weapon, which was a knife, and then poked Austin once in the chest, and that's why Austin passed away, okay? It pierced into his heart. Now, on Carmelo's side, they're saying Austin pushed him, but even if you push the person, that does not, okay, that does not justify you pulling out something and doing it. This, to me, guys, is a sign of anger, a sign of fear of something. It's especially anger, okay? Karmelo Anthony has some sort of anger issue. We're going to get into that, all right? And I believe it started at home. So this says, new details and troubling backgrounds for Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony revealed in the retrial hearing. The gloves have come off of the ongoing courtroom drama. Convicted Karmelo Anthony, both prosecutors and defense attorneys are using a motion for a new trial hearing to expose the violent backgrounds of both Karmelo and Anthony Metcalf. There was a private off-record agreement to keep the sordid backgrounds of both Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf from the jury and the public so that the trial would focus solely on what happened under the tent that day at Frisco High School track meet last year. Now, both sides are releasing those background reports, with the defense going first by going over 20 pages of Austin Metcalf's behavioral history. Now, Austin Metcalf was not a saint himself, right? Neither of these kids were, all right? Neither of these kids were. Karmelo Anthony was dressed in a suit and tie for Thursday's hearing, which began with the defense during the efforts. So they went into, the arguments of why there should be a new trial. So they both had to present this evidence. So this is Austin Metcalf's, right? Austin Metcalf's, excuse me. CBS News Texas has also learned new details about Austin Metcalf's background from the court documents. Austin Metcalf and his brother Hunter Metcalf, because Austin and Hunter are twins, all right, once caught spray painting graffiti, including K, and you know the last letter, and to delete all blacks. That was what they got caught graffitiing. And then they also got caught yelling H Hitler. We all know what the H stands for, along with the N-word. I have to tell you about that one, right? And were sentenced to 12 months of juvenile probation, court documents. Then it also reveals that we did some dumb stuff and we did some vandalism. There are several documents, instances of Austin Metcalf using racial slurs in school, And in 2023, Austin Metcalf was accused of bullying a black student in class. Now, in 2018, according to court documents, while still in elementary school, Austin Metcalf and his brother were accused of bullying and assaulting a female, which led to Austin Metcalf's arrest. This is 2018. During an argument in 2024 with another female student, Austin Metcalf allegedly knocked her to the ground, punched her in the stomach. Reports state he was also kicked out of a football game, later text someone. I was about to beat the blank out of those kids. At a previous track meet, when another student started or alerted Austin Metcalf that someone not on their team behind their bench was talking wild, Austin Metcalf reportedly replied, "Kill that MF," court documents state. During the 2023-2024 school year, he received a school suspension twice. School disciplinary records from April 22nd to May 24th reveal that he repeatedly called a teacher the B word or used profanity that he told a school official that he couldn't control it and was unaware of that. It was coming out his mouth. In 2024, on at least 5 occasions, records show Austin Metcalf saw a counselor regarding his anger and rage during a football game. So in 2024, he was, it looks like, trying to seek help. Well, now, we don't know if this is because of the parents, because remember, Austin Metcalf was underage still at this time. So we don't know if this is from the parents making him or if this had to be like some sort of a court agreement. This part is not saying. In 2021, he was banned from attending basketball games for a season after yelling profanity at a player. Court documents state that Austin Metcalf was also suspended after he and another student were talking about bringing a GU into school the following day. So Austin's past was not the best either, okay? It sounded like Austin had some sort of anger issues. He had problems going on. Now, I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Austin Metcalf's parents are no longer together. I believe they're divorced. That's why you don't see the mom and dad talking together. So the dad lives in one house, and I believe the mom lives in another house. So I don't think we've ever got clear of if Austin was living at his mom's or dad's. This, I don't think we ever got clear. He was probably living with his mom, probably what it was. And I do know a lot of kids, get issues and anger issues when their parents divorce, especially at, when they start getting a later age in life. Now I'm not saying this is an excuse for what he did. No way it's an excuse for what he did. But I do know sometimes this can lead to that type of drama. Now we're going to get into what they said about Carmelo Anthony. Now, the never before released details of Carmelo Anthony's teenage years in Louisiana up to the day of his arrest for unaliving are also disturbing. On the day that Carmelo Anthony would fatally take out Austin Metcalf, prosecutors say he sent a text message at 1 a.m. which said, "I'm low-key on the verge," and then emphasized it. So you guys reading this or watching this video, you're probably like, what does he mean low-key on the verge? So low-key is pretty much a slang what people are saying nowadays. Like, I low-key want to go do this, or I really low-key want to go to this club, or I low-key like that flavor, favorite flavor of ice cream. So he said, I'm low-key on the verge, all right? Meaning he's basically on the verge. But on the verge of doing what? On the verge of causing mayhem like he did. And then he also emphasized it. Later in the morning on April 2nd, 2025, hours before Carmelo Anthony would delete Austin Metcalf with the knife at a high school track meet, prosecutors and Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend reported to a Centennial High School staff member that Carmelo Anthony was engaging in stalking behavior, to include but not limited to driving by her home and refusing to allow her to end their relationship. So from what I'm taking it, Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend, I guess, broke up with him, but he wasn't having it. So I guess he was stalking her to the point where she had to go tell school officials at her school. Also in a 75-page filing. Now, here's a 75-page document, okay? Prosecutors say Carmelo Anthony had previously been accused of stealing his girlfriend's phone in October 24, wrote a to-do list for his girlfriend about how to deal with, quote, weirdos, which included the line, "Say some slick like my boyfriend will take people out." Basically telling her how to talk to other guys. So it sounds like he was kind of controlling with her, okay? Now, there are also text messages where he admits on at least 2 occasions to punching girls in the face. Prosecutors also found text messages from 2021 between Carmelo Anthony and another student about robbing someone for $300. There are other text messages where Carmelo Anthony talks about a fight and punching someone so hard he had to stop fighting. In 2023, prosecutors said Carmelo Anthony told a friend he was going to vandalize someone's house in Austin, Texas, saying, "I just feel like it. I got a grudge." In 2021, Carmelo Anthony told a friend he had been suspended from the school for 3 days for fighting. Now, they said next time I do something, I get recommended for expulsion, is what court records say. In a text conversation with a friend in 2023, prosecutors have messages from Carmelo Anthony in which he wrote, "I'm going to shoot the school up tomorrow with my blick." Blick is a GUN. But later sent messages saying, "I would never actually do that." So maybe he came to light and was like, "I shouldn't have put that on text messages," or maybe he was playing. We don't know. We probably never will know. In a 2024 text thread, prosecutors said Carmelo Anthony admitted to carrying a firearm, telling a friend before a party that he would have the GUN in my pocket. Okay, so he's going to parties with this weapon on him. Now remember, he is a minor at this time. According to documents, there are other messages threads in which Anthony also mentions carrying a GUN. Now, Carmelo Anthony spent time in Louisiana. After numerous suspensions for fighting while attending school in Louisiana, there are messages between Carmelo Anthony and his girlfriend after he moved to Frisco. One message thread, she suggests she just sit for a while. He replied, "Yeah, and punch people, maybe run sometimes." Wow. I can't even read these things. I have to, it's like a priority for me. So basically he's saying he felt like sometimes he just has to punch people. For no reason, it's a priority to him. It's like breathing air or drinking water. I like punching people. When I get mad, I see red. When I get mad, I black out. When I get mad, I can't control myself. Once again, guys, I said this sounds like he had deeper issues. He had some sort of issue with himself, some sort of anger issue. Prosecutors also produced messages where Carmelo Anthony admitted to getting high, drinking alcohol, and even talking about selling drugs to get GUNs. Now, in 2024, prosecutors said Carmelo Anthony attempted to assault a teacher, saying, "I put my hands in face and everything." Also in 2024, messages obtained by prosecutors suggest Carmelo Anthony tried to bring a weapon into the State Fair of Texas, asking a friend if the State Fair got metal detectors. When he was told yes, his friend responded, "You got the poker? Poker's a knife. Yeah, I might have to toss it." So this kid sounds like he always carried something with him, whether it was a GUN or a poker, as they call it. Prosecutors said Carmelo Anthony admitted to stealing a watch, earbuds, and separate burglaries in Collin County, and also bringing a weapon into Frisco school campus. And said about his girlfriend, "She went to my bag to get my computer, and I said no. She still wanted and grabbed it, and my GUN and my knife when some other stuff fell out." So his girlfriend went to his bag to get some stuff out his bag, and I guess while she was retrieving some stuff, some weapons fell out of his bag. There are numerous unreleased photos and videos of Carmelo Anthony holding firearms and making threats. Authorities found a note on Carmelo Anthony's phone with a long list of disturbing racial slurs about blacks, whites, and Hispanics. So he wasn't just hating on one group, he was hating on everybody, blacks, whites, and Hispanics. In one message thread, prosecutors say Carmelo Anthony wrote, "I hate GAY people." So this guy really had a hate for everybody. Prosecutors say Carmelo Anthony repeatedly threatened to unalive his girlfriend in text messages, some of them saying how many bullets you want coming out of your chest, and I'm going to get you. They also said that he threatened her with a knife in one message and told her in another, "When I stab somebody, I'm going to lick their blood off the blade." Prosecutors and defense attorneys got these character reports from a combination of police reports, school records, cell phone extractions, and the hearing is expected to end on Friday. Well, we know how the hearing ended up being.
My son didn't intend to hurt anyone. My son was defending himself.
Pointed as a father, I mean, we all want our children to be, the best they can be, and obviously we all fall short. But, to see that information that I had never actually seen before, but I knew at some of the incidents, we had dealt with it at home, but it still doesn't change the facts of the case.
Well, his motion got denied, and I can see why it got denied. But before all this, the kicker of this is Carmelo's parents was going on national TV acting like Carmelo was a saint. They were acting like he didn't do nothing wrong. He was this good kid, never got into trouble. Hey, take a look for yourself.
His GPA, he still graduated through all this. He still graduated high school. He still graduated. The lady the kid he saved, this stuff really happened. He was never in trouble, and no, he was never suspended for no knife. But they had actually what I learned was they had a smear campaign that they did. I wasn't familiar with that. Like, I've had my moments. We want our children to do better, right? We look at our YNs. This wasn't a YN. So what we gonna do about this not YN? We can make more YNs. Now you got a kid, like I just told you, everything that we're telling you right now is verified.
Now, there's a term in there that he keeps using that some people watching this video might not know what it is. YN. He's saying, hey, he wasn't a YN, but hey, he says something about we can raise more YNs or put more YNs out there. YN is a new slang for young N-word, okay? Young N-word, like they say in rap music, just in case you do not know, okay? And the reason why this is called YNs, basically this is when they're out just pretty much causing ruckus, doing whatever they want to do. Burglarizing, shootings, stealing people's cars out of driveways. New age people are calling them YNs. So basically he's saying his son was never a YN. He wasn't a YN. He was a good kid. Never got suspended. None of this ever happened. And you know what the funny thing is? When I did my video on Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf, I told you guys I got information that he did get suspended. Okay? He got suspended for 3 days over bringing a weapon to school. But people in the comments were hating on me. I think I lost 200 followers, subscribers on that video. I gained a lot, but I think I lost 200 from the people who were rooting for Carmelo. And even me being honest, saying that he needs to be found guilty of at least manslaughter, because that is what I think the charge he should get. Now, after reading all this, I'm surprised he didn't get more. Think about if you were sitting on a jury and this was brought up to your attention. Now, you're probably wondering, why was this not brought up to the jury? Just in case if you don't know, let me explain. So an unwritten gentleman's agreement was originally proposed by lead prosecutor Bill Wursky to prevent the highly publicized trial from becoming a character assassination of both teams, which would further inflame deep national and racial tensions. Both legal teams agreed to try the case strictly based on the physical confrontation that occurred under the tent at the Frisco High School track meet. So because Carmelo was black, Austin was white, there was a big racial divide. The racial divide, and you want me to be honest with you? I'm going to be honest with you. Came from the media, one, because the media started putting out, oh, the black kid and the white kid, okay? Then the racial divide came from the Carmelo Anthony, justice for Carmelo Anthony. And people were screaming out, Metcalf deserved it. People were screaming out, so what, he put his hands on Carmelo, he deserved, all kind of stuff was coming out. And this was the racial divide. Now, the one question for me, I always said after this trial, I said, why didn't Carmelo testify? Because in any self-defense trial, when you're talking about self-defense, most of the time, the person who's claiming self-defense gets on the stand. So you can see their emotion. You can see if they're lying. So they can tell you it was self-defense, why they did what they did. It's hard to get a gesture or a scene from a person or character from a person if they're not on the stand, hey, saying, hey, I did this. This is why I did it. So we all were wondering why he had the weapon. Now we all know he just always carries weapons. We were all wondering why he didn't. And this is why it was part of the agreement. Carmelo's original defense team, Mike Howard and Toby Shook, always attended for the Carmelo to testify to establish his self-defense claim. However, on the final day of the trial, prosecutors asserted that the gentleman's agreement would not cover Carmelo if he took the stand. Okay? They warned that cross-examination would open the door to his violent past history. Following a heated debate in the judge's chambers, Carmelo backed out of the testifying because he felt he would not get a fair trial. Then he was convicted to 35 years in prison. So this makes sense of why he didn't take the stand. Because if they would have put him on the stand during the cross-examination, prosecution would have got up and attacked his past. Hey, isn't it true you sent these text messages to your girlfriend? Isn't it true that you got suspended from school? Isn't it true that you used to tote and hold these weapons? Is this picture you? And if Carmelo would have went on the stand and lied about any of that, because the prosecution is going to ask him first, then he might have lied. Let's say he lies. And then the prosecution is going to say, well, Exhibit A, here's a text message that he really did send to his girlfriend saying, how many bullets do you want? So I can see why they did not put him on a trial now. It makes sense. This whole time I bashed his lawyer, and I was like, his lawyer was trash. But his lawyer didn't have much to work with. His lawyer had to work with what he had. So I get it now. I really get it now. I apologize to Carmelo Anthony's attorney because I get it now. Now, I understand why they didn't put more witnesses on Carmelo Anthony's side as well, because a lot of people were saying, why isn't more people testimony? No, nobody got up for Carmelo really. Well, I get it, because if they did, guess what? Same thing. Were you around when Carmelo sent these text messages to his girlfriend? Were you around when he said he was on the verge, low key? So I get now why. They're lucky they didn't have Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend testify, or ex-girlfriend. It would have been all over with him. So this is one of the reasons why I'm saying he's lucky he got what he got. So his lawyer only had to work with what he had. Now, I told you guys earlier, there was a point before this trial even started. I honestly felt, and I said this from the start, that Carmelo Anthony messed up. Not him, sorry, but his parents. His parents messed up big time. Now, before I get to the point, I want to show you this as well. Just a little bit about the parents, which is all starting to make sense. So this right here, okay? This was reported by Sarah Fields. Now, I have the original document as well, but I want to show you what's highlighted. It says, in sentencing and reliance upon agreement, the defense did not designate an expert and was ready to testify regarding mitigation. Now, if you go to the bottom over here, okay, furthermore, in reliance upon an agreement, the defense severely limited its available character witnesses to just 3 questions of Mr. Anthony's mother, which had been previously agreed upon by the prosecution. Other than general character testimony and pleas for mercy and reliance upon the agreement. Now, before I read to you guys the yellow part, this is part of the paperwork for a motion for a new trial. This is what the new team is saying. The new lawyers are saying, hey, Carmelo Anthony's old team did not put any more character witness on the stand besides his own mom, and they only agreed to 3 questions. But guys, we know why now, because his character would have been attacked. So we know why. Then it goes on to say, the defense also did not go into the substantial family violence Mr. Anthony had witnessed and been a victim of in his own home. Let me read this again for you. The defense also did not go into substantial family violence Mr. Anthony had witnessed and been a victim in his own home. Meaning that if he would have took the stand, the defense attorney probably would have asked, hey, how was it like growing up in your own home? Here it says he witnessed violence in his own home. Who was the violence between? Was it between his mom, his dad? Was it on him? Is this why Carmelo has anger issues? and uncontrollable habits, and his character is the way he is. It would make a lot of sense. Not only that, the mom and father also played a role of, hey, everything's good at home. And not only is everything good at home, we are all complete angels. And so is Carmelo Anthony. He's an angel. So if that would have got out, then that means everything they ever said was a lie. Now they look bad in public. Let me show you something else. All right. So this came out on June 15th. Now, this was a message apparently between Drew, who was Carmelo Anthony's dad, and Sarah Fields. This says, everyone has something to say about Austin Metcalf's dad finally venting his frustrations after being under a gag order. But those same people turn a blind eye to the things Carmelo Anthony's parents have said and done. For example, Drew Anthony previously sent 3 disgusting messages to Sarah Fields because he was angry that she was just simply factually covering the case. Look at what he said about Sarah's child. And like what we see coming from Carmelo supporters, Drew Anthony immediately took it as low as you can go, possibly. Not only does this show what a horrible person he is, it also shows that he's dumb and a box of rocks. It goes on to really talk a lot of stuff. So let me go on and tell you what these say. Let me get to the beginning of it. So it looks like Sarah says, I already had a name. I already had a following for any of this. Your son unalived someone. Hold him accountable. You're coming after me because I made sure the facts were known about the case and not some crazy made up Marlo Key about Hunter or Jeff or the school. You've done nothing but blame everyone else for your own child. Go be a dad is what she told him. So he replies back and edits what he replies back, by the way. There you go, being delusional again. You didn't have anything. My son defended himself. Maybe if you was a parent and your child would have defended their self, she might not have to be. And then he puts taken advantage of, MOLOSTED. Sarah Fields, and I don't know the complete history, but there was a history of something that happened with her own daughter, okay? And like I said, I really don't know the history of it, but this is how low he takes it. Then he says, I never said anything to anyone about the lies you spread. You're the one with half the truth, not us. You scared of Tiffany because she must have had the truth. And he puts LOL. You lucky I don't know her. All in caps and everything. So then she replies back, Tiffany has nothing but an evil agenda. Then she replies back to the delusional part. She says, my daughter was 6. What the F is wrong with you? Then he replies back with, I didn't mean anything by that. I'm sorry. Now, I don't know Carmelo Anthony's parents, just like I don't know Austin Metcalf's parents, his dad and his mom. Now, I will say Austin's dad does seem like a person I can sit down with and have a conversation. He does seem reasonable and he seems understanding. Okay. He actually forgave Carmelo. So he seems like a sensible person that you can sit down and have a conversation with. Carmelo Anthony's parents, I'm not too sure. But from what I just read to you guys and that statement below of violence at home, I'm wondering what this violence is. So this, what I just showed you with his parents and his Carmelo's father, now I understand why. The pivotal moment when they could have done something to limit maybe the amount of time Carmelo got and totally messed up on it. I'm going to show you. It was this part right here.
What we seen at the beginning of this press conference, the father being at this press conference, these are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. That was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family.
When a parent has to bury his child, everyone looks to that parent to gauge how to react. In this case, Jeff Metcalf, the father, is not just a spectator in the case. He's the conscience of the entire community. If you win Jeff, you win all the sympathy. But if you alienate him, you can go to prison for life. Jeff Metcalf said, and I quote, "You know what? I've already forgiven this person. The entire Carmelo team has to drop everything. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Your entire legal strategy has to change, and let them know that this case will revolve around one person, Jeff Metcalf, the father."
Carmelo Anthony's parents had a press conference. Okay, held a press conference. They hired a person to talk for them. Now, this person has a past himself. Okay? He has a past himself. And it's not the greatest past. It is not a good past at all. Okay? Allegedly abusing a minor in some sort of form or fashion. And some other charges. So his past is not the best, but he's the one that's hired to represent the family, speak for them. So they have this press conference. During the press conference, guess who shows up? Austin Metcalf's dad. Now, he didn't show up to cause a scene. He showed up to extend an olive branch to talk with the family about the situation, to let the family know, I forgive Carmelo. To pray with the family, guys. To pray with the family. Instead of the parents telling this representative, back away from the mic. Back away. Because what I would have done if I was Carmelo's parents, I would have told this guy, back away from the mic. No, sorry, get out of here. You might have to get fired right here on the spot. Austin Metcalf's father, I think his name is Jeff, please come up. Please come up. Your son is the one who lost his life. So let's acknowledge that. You're the real victim here. He is. He is the real victim. Not Carmelo Anthony's parents. It is Austin Metcalf's parents is the real victim. Please come up. Say what you like to say. Get it out of your chest. It would have made Carmelo Anthony's parents look so much better. Not only that, you do not know what would have happened after that. What if they did pray together? What if he said right there on the stand to the world, I forgive them? We wouldn't have all this race baiting going on. After that, what if Austin Metcalf's dad went to the prosecution and said, hey, look, I've sat and prayed with Carmelo's family. Carmelo's family is using their GoFundMe to pay for the funeral of my son that lost his life. We are talking now. I've even talked to Carmelo myself. He's a troubled kid and needs some help. You know, if Austin Metcalf's father would have agreed, if he would have agreed to a plea bargain to where he would have got a lesser charge, say like slaughter, like I thought he should have got, and lesser time with some therapy, prosecution, most likely would have went with it. Because now the victim's parent is agreeable with a plea deal. This is how some cases you wonder, how did this person get off on a charge, you know, much lesser than this person? So let me give you a quick example, okay? You guys heard of the Courtney Clenny case, all right? Courtney Clenny was an OnlyFans model, well, still could be, I guess, but an OnlyFans model out of Miami, where she lived in Miami. She was accused of unaliving her boyfriend with a weapon, with a knife. Now, in her defense, she also says it was self-defense. She says she threw it at him, and I guess it pierced his chest, and this is what made him pass away, or was the cause of his death. She was charged as well with unaliving, okay? The original charge was second degree. Carmelo Anthony's charge, I believe, was first degree. So her charge was second degree, all right? Meaning that she didn't get up in the morning saying that this is what she's going to do. So it was a second degree, which carried a potential 30-year prison sentence. Now, she ended up pleading down. She got a plea agreement to manslaughter with a deadly weapon, resulting in a 6-year prison sentence and 5 years probation. So she went from 30 years to 6 years. And not only that, she's already served, I believe, is 4 years already. So she can get out in the next year and a half. Now she has to go through mandatory mental health evaluation, treatment, substance abuse evaluation, and batteries intervention. Okay. Now, prior to the criminal plea, here is the kicker. There was a civil case going on. Her boyfriend's name was Chris. Now, Courtney Clenny's white woman. Her boyfriend's Chris, black guy. Big outrage on this one too. As in, oh, the white woman takes out the black guy and she's going to get you. So it was a big outrage. But here's the part people don't want to even mention or talk about is this. The victim's family reached a settlement and dismissed a wrongful death lawsuit against the property management company where the incident occurred, okay? So there was a civil lawsuit, all right, against Courtney and her family and the property management company. Now, Courtney's family has some money. Courtney has money herself and the family has money. So they paid the victim's family off. Not only did they pay the victim's family off, the victim agreed to her plea deal of from 30 years down to 6. The family agreed. The same thing could have happened to Carmelo. But Carmelo's parents' dignity was too high, wanted to take the high road. I guess loved all the GoFundMe money coming in. I'm not sure, I'm just saying I guessed, you know. But that was the moment that all of this probably could have been settled right there on national TV in front of everybody. And Carmelo probably wouldn't have got so much time. You guys let me know what you think about all this. Do you think he would have got more time now that we know the full background? Do you think Austin Metcalf's background played a role in this too? Was it the right choice for Carmelo's lawyer to not even talk about the characters or talk about past? And this is why there was really no witnesses on the Carmelo side. You guys let me know that below. Now, personally, I don't think that Austin Metcalf's past, or even maybe some of Carmelo's past, maybe. But the things that led up to him doing what he did, like those text messages that were sent on that day, that could have been a sign of premeditation. It could have been. So you guys let me know what you think below, all right? Please like and subscribe. Turn on notification bells. Join the membership if you can. It helps me with this channel to go full time. And comment below where you've been watching from. How long you've been watching me. From what case. Some of you guys have been following me from day one. Thank you so much. We have passed 35,000 subscribers. I love it. So let's continue to grow. My goal originally was to hit, I think it was 25,000 by the end of the summer. Well, guess what? We're at 35,000 and the summer still has a few weeks left. So thank you guys. I've overreached the goal. So you guys continue to love one another. Take care of one another. Look out at your surroundings. Watch your surroundings. Until next time, this is Fugitive TV and I'm out.